Hello, everyone, and welcome to a fan's view of the Cinefanatics tagline. Wait a minute. I'm in the wrong household. This isn't my show.
What's going on, everybody? We are the Cinefanatics. This is the tagline. My name's Robert Adams.
I'm Chris Adams.
And yeah, we've got a show for you tonight. We got some movie news to talk about. Not a whole lot. Not much at all. Nice, short little bits. So this probably won't be that long of an episode. But
Still be an hour and a half.
Yeah, let's see what kind of fun we have with given what we have. Real quick, YouTube things out of the way. Y'all have any questions, comments, issues? Streamlabs.com/Cinefanatics. That's a good place to get that in to grab our attention. Also, Patreon.com/Cinefanatics. If you feel like we are worthy of your support and you have the monetary means to support us, please hop on the tier that fits you and your personality, your pocketbook, your bank account, whatever that fits you best. That would be very much appreciated. We have a lot of good things we do on there. For example, tonight, after we do the tagline, we will be hopping over to our Discord channel over in the voice chat, doing a nice little hangout with some trivia. Mr. Vernon Greene, who you just heard with his beautiful voice there at the beginning, will be giving us trivia questions for us to answer. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Hop on that Maverick tier on our Patreon, and you can join us over there as well. Should be a pretty good time. But anyways, that's what's going on tonight. Let me see, what else do we have coming up? We have a Rocky marquee coming up, not this Friday, but the following Friday. So that will be coming up. We'll have more details on that probably next week. And there's the Cinefanatics podcast. Our last episode was the rom-coms. We have another episode that will be dropping on Tuesday, so be on the lookout for that. That will be coming up almost everywhere that you get your podcasts at, audio version. There is a video version that drops on this channel, so make sure you watch that. And yeah, that's it for all the YouTube stuff. How are you doing, Chris?
Super
duper.
Super great. Keep checking that drink. I'm doing super fantastic. Are you done drinking now? You hydrated? You good?
Yeah. How's Vernon doing over there?
He's alive.
Oh, good. I would hate for a guest to come over to our actual house and expire. That would be a little weird. Anyways.
Waiting on for me to say something?
No, you're good.
Looking in the chat real quick, I see we have Garth, Vernon, Jeremy. Thank y'all, Nerd. Thank y'all for being here. Okay, Garth, I'm going to say this one last time, so make sure you and everyone else is paying attention. I never said that it's...
Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Moving on.
It just doesn't look like Corey. So here's the thing. Chris...
Not listening to me. Nobody cares.
Stop. Chris actually kind of agrees with me now, because it does look a little weird.
Don't drag me into this.
Oh, no, you've told me.
Don't drag me into this.
In the theater, you're like, it
Don't
actually...
drag me into this.
Tell the good people what you told me.
Hey.
It looks exactly
Corey stole his face. Look at
that. You asshole. Anyways. Beside the point. Vernon, these arguments are mild. Yeah. So, anyways, movies that we've watched over this past week. Obviously, we've both seen Quantumania. So we'll talk about that probably here in a little bit, because there's a little bit of news in regards to the reviews and stuff. Have you seen anything else new besides Quantumania?
I don't believe so. I think that's the only thing new that I saw this last week, because right now I'm going through and doing obviously the rewatches of Rocky. I want to be refreshed and re-updated on all the movies before we do the marquee. So
yeah,
the only one of those movies I haven't seen yet is the fifth one, so I haven't watched that. So there you go.
The only other new movie I watched was Infinity Pool, which really wasn't that bad. I was thinking it was going to be this like extremely hard to watch movie. No, it wasn't hard to watch at all. I would almost, for those of y'all who are familiar, my brother doesn't like horror movies. He could almost watch it. So like it was weird. It had some strange parts in it. There's one thing he like, if you're not a fan of gore, you might want to turn your head for, but it was only like one instance of that. So
real quick tip, don't try to shake your head no while you're taking a drink of something.
oh yeah. You're gonna look like Boss Nass. Anyways,
no, he argues, I respond.
I don't argue. I give factual statements, and then people tend to disagree with me.
No, you give infactual
I don't
statements,
argue, young man.
and people respond.
I do not argue. Take that back. Anyways, I enjoyed Infinity Pool. I thought it was pretty good. But let me see. Is tonight a spoiler discussion of the movie? No, it is not. We will not be talking spoilers of Quantumania.
Nope.
There will be, I believe, there's going to be some spoilery material for Quantumania in the next podcast.
There is.
So if you are planning on seeing it and you're a fan of watching our podcast, make sure you watch Quantumania before you watch our podcast. Otherwise, you just have to wait on the podcast. So
you need to watch Quantumania sometime this weekend before next Tuesday.
Yes. So arguing about arguing. I know that was the point. So meta. Lego said Rocky only had one sequel and Shock Treatment is pretty fun. I did not enjoy Shock Treatment as much as I did Rocky Horror. Rocky Horror Picture Show is what she's referencing. Not the Rocky movies.
Gonna fly now.
Yeah. Anyways. Yeah. So anyone else watch anything interesting over this past week? I know I've got like a nice hearty stack of movies that I want to watch. I know we didn't get the chance to watch Knock at the Cabin in the theaters. We were going to go to like a press screening of it, but then we got that ice storm. And so we weren't able to go to it, but apparently Knock at the Cabin is available to watch at home now. So I will probably watch that here in a couple of days. So
Wow,
I don't know what else.
That was less than a month.
There, but yeah, that was quick. Nerd says he watched Blackula last night. Blackula is good. I enjoyed Blackula. Yeah, like there's a lot of social commentary in it, but at the same time, it actually is a very good story. So, anyways, let's get on with some movie news. Like I said, there's not much tonight, but let's coast through it real quick and let's see. News.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. This is what's happening in your world tonight.
We apologize for the interruption.
Back to you.
Anyways, how's that box office looking? Did Avatar go back to number one?
Absolutely, it did. Yep, sitting at number one it made $6.5 million this weekend, so nothing past that amount of money. Avatar's definitely sitting at number one. Oh, wait. Except there was a little movie called Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania that made $106 million itself. So maybe something did pass $6.5 million this weekend.
By 100 million.
By about 100 million. Golly, how could I forget that? Yeah. Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. Duh. It's your number one movie. I think everyone and their mother saw that one coming. So yeah, that being said, Avatar number two is number two. Like I said, 6.5 million. So that's kind of funny. Number three is last week's number one, Magic Mike's Last Dance. And then number four, we've got Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Number five, apparently coming out for home viewing here pretty soon, is Knock at the Cabin.
Mm-hmm.
The heck?
We're not in a cabin. We're in an apartment. It's not knock at an apartment.
Yeah, that's just knocking at my desk, to be honest. Number six, some reason is still in the top 10, is 80 for Brady. I think that movie is just a meme at this point, and that's why people are watching it, I would assume. Number seven is Titanic, the 25-year anniversary. And then number 8 is a new release that I didn't actually know was coming out. It made 1.8 million. It's called Marlowe and stars Liam Neeson and Diane Kruger, as well as Alan Cumming and Danny Houston.
Why have we not heard about this?
I don't know. It's in the 1930s. I think Liam Neeson's playing like a detective essentially. It's like a crime mystery thriller, like an old school like noir. It sounds like an old school noir type film. So I'm already like kind of interested in this just based on that fact. But IMDb is showing it at a 5.8 out of 10 stars right now. So the fact that we haven't heard about it, it just opened this week at number 8. It doesn't seem.
It's a Philip Marlowe. So yeah, it's the very stereotypical. He's in his office and the dame walked up to the door. I saw her silhouette through the window. She opened the door and stepped into my office. There was something about this dame I just couldn't put my finger on.
So, like I assumed, it's a noir movie.
Yeah.
Tell me to read a book, Garth.
Book?
Shoot.
Why do I need to read books? They're just turning them all into movies. I'll just
Clearly
wait till the movie comes out.
Clearly they're making the movie. Why do I need to read the book? Goof. You goof. Number 9 is Missing. And number 10 is A Man Called Otto.
What would
the three again fell to number 11 this week.
What would number 9 be if it wasn't Missing? Okay. Anyways. So yeah, Quantumania number 1. What I think is really funny about that is the fact that we thought that Avatar was going to be number 1 this entire time up until this weekend. And the fact that it was beaten out before this weekend is impressive.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's obviously no surprise that Ant-Man and the Wasp is number 1. I think it's what's interesting to me is that if Ant-Man and the Wasp didn't come out this weekend, Avatar would be back to number 1 again.
Yeah.
So I think that's saying something. That's kind of interesting to think about. Been out for 10 weeks. I don't think we're gonna get that thing home viewing anytime soon. I think that we have another situation like Top Gun Maverick, which the distribution studio, Walt Disney, is going to try to keep this thing in theaters for as long as possible and milk it for all it's worth.
Yeah, but then it will pop up on Disney Plus.
Yeah, but then of course, yeah, it'll pop up on Disney Plus, which they will continue to make money off of. So
yeah.
Anyways,
we got a Streamlabs in from Garth saying, love the cameo. And I've seen him post this before, but love the cameo in Quantumania by Mark Oliver Everett of the rock band Eels as the guy with the dog. It's not spoilery. There's a part at the beginning where Scott's talking about how his life has been since Endgame, and he seemingly gets a lot of people wanting to take selfies of him with their dog. So I guess this is the first guy that gets a picture of him with the dog. It's important because his dad, Hugh Everett III, first proposed the many worlds interpretation of quantum physics, which influenced parallel worlds. So yeah, nice little cameo in there. That's one of those that like you look for as movie fans. We're looking for like other like cameos and stuff. Like I know the first Ant-Man movie, for example, had a cameo. I forgot the guy's name. I completely am blanking on his name, but he played Ant-Man in an old Saturday Night Live skit. And in the Ant-Man movie, he was the taxi cab driver that Scott fell onto the hood of his car while he was tiny. So you heard like this little thunk on the top of his hood. And he looks like, he's like, what the? And that was that guy from Saturday Night Live. That's the kind of cameos that like I know movie lovers typically are looking for. This is one of those really interesting ones because you have to know more than just the movie or a book, apparently, to recognize and understand who these people are. So yeah, nice little cameo. Cool little Easter egg there. Thanks, Garth.
Yeah.
Garrett Morris. Thanks again, Garth. Thank you for that.
Got it.
Anyways, yeah. So that's cool. Anyways, moving on.
Yep. So going on into movie news, we have
just love that Simu Liu.
See, the beautiful thing about what happened there is that you were talking to Garth, and then we kind of just quickly like ran right into it. So he didn't have time to mute his laptop before I played that.
Yeah. Well, at least that one's not as intrusive as the previous one. Yeah, exactly. just to make sure people understand what we're referencing. We just played it for your reference purposes only.
Yeah. All right, so here's your Barbie watch for the week, everybody. There is an interview that Collider has up with Emma Mackey. If you don't know who Emma Mackey is, just look at Margot Robbie, and you basically have Emma Mackey.
Oh, so, you mean Samara Weaving?
No. I mean the third person that looks like the trifecta of the three of them together.
There's a Margot Robbie trifecta?
There's a Margot Robbie trifecta.
That's awesome.
It consists of Margot Robbie, Samara Weaving, who is also in Babylon, by the way, and Emma Mackey, who is in Barbie. So Margot Robbie is trying to work with her fraternal twins. Eternal twins?
Fraternal.
Infernal twins.
Oh, okay.
Infernal. Anyway, so there's a quote. She's got a quote here about how excited she was to work with Greta Gerwig and work on Barbie. So let's read this. Let's read this quote here. She says, "I jumped, I fought, I shouted from the rooftops in any way I could. She's my absolute hero, and she lived up to expectations more than I could have anticipated. All of the people in it are excited to see how it's going to end up." Exactly. Margot Robbie variants. I just can't wait. It feels like such a complete film to me. That's how I felt when I read it, and that's how it felt when we were filming it. I'm just excited for it all to come together. It was the most fun I've ever had in my life. She's praising the crew. She's like praising Greta Gerwig. She's praising everybody who's working on it. It sounds to me like absolutely everybody who's a part of this movie is just super excited to be a part of this movie. And if that just doesn't bode well for all you Barbie heads out there, your plastic heads with the real hair coming out of the holes at the top of it. If it doesn't excite you, I don't know what will.
I think, like, from a business standpoint, even in the business of making a movie, I still feel like there's that old adage that rings true even in this circumstance. If your employees are happy, everything will be much better. Your business, like if it's a sales business, customer service, you'll have happier customers, you'll have higher sales. Just if everyone's happy on set and having a good time making the movie, that comes through in the end product. So yeah, exactly. There's no way this movie's going to be bad. It may not be, worst case scenario, it may turn out to be a movie that's just not your movie. It's not your tastes, but it's still going to be a good movie.
Look, yeah. I think it might be too early to make this claim, but this claim might not be far off by the time we see it. Just saying. She goes on to say, it was wonderful. It's being helmed by people who know what they're doing and who care and who are in the best possible circumstances to do their job. When they're in their element and you see other people confident and calm in what they're doing, then you feel confident and calm and you want to make them proud and you want to do the best job possible. It's all a very healthy work environment to be in. Those opportunities don't come by all the time, so you got to take them when you can. Gosh, it just sounds like the entire set was just good vibes all the way through.
Yeah.
And I think that is something to be commendable, I think. First of all, it sounds like Greta Gerwig's the right choice for this. It sounds like everybody on set was having fun. It sounds like everybody on set was excited to be there. I have no reason to doubt that the best movie coming out in the next decade will be. So really the idea there is to transition to the best movie being Barbie, but I now realize that it made it seem like I was saying the best movie coming out is Barbie Watch.
Yeah, I was like, it's not called Barbie Watch.
You know, someday down the line when they've done 18 movies of Barbie and they make a movie out of her car and her mansion and all of that, maybe they'll finally get around to a movie about a Barbie watch.
That's right. One day we'll be professional at doing this.
I'm professional now. I don't know what you're saying.
Anyways, moving on. It was announced sometime this past week that, I think it's time to make another Hellboy movie. Why? I know Hellboy is like a popular character and all, but yeah. So they're gonna make another Hellboy movie. It is being directed by Brian Taylor, who was one of the two directors who directed the Crank movies with Jason Statham. And yeah, I mean, those were good, catchy, fun popcorn action flicks. I don't know how that necessarily would translate to Hellboy. I get like Hellboy is full of action as well, but that directing style. If you've seen the two Crank movies, they have a very distinct look and style to it. A lot of it is like, I don't know, fisheye lens, weird close-ups and zoom-ins and camera angles. And it's all like very fast-paced, almost like an Edgar Wright type of quick, fast-paced shooting. Yeah, it's going to be a little weird. It said it is going to be rated R, which is good because we need, like, if you're going to do Hellboy, let's make it R-rated. And they're saying it's going to be more closer to like a dark folk tale, which sounds like they're going to bring it back to kind of like a year one type of storytelling. So,
yeah, I wonder if they're going to actually like. It sounds to me like it's going to be taken seriously and not be as campy, if that's the case. So if they're talking about dark folk tale, I can see it like starting off and like doing kind of like what the first Hellboy movie did, which was let's go back in time a little bit when they initially found Hellboy. I feel like they're gonna do kind of like that. It's like 1800s and a cabin somewhere out in the woods somewhere, and it's snowing and there's men in like Civil War costumes or something, whatever.
Yeah. Real quick, because I see our chat is sitting here trying to figure out what is determined to be holes in the human body. If I may use another movie to kind of help with this conversation, are eyes holes? If you've seen that movie Inner Space with Martin Short and Dennis Quaid, spoilers for this, but when Dennis Quaid leaves Martin Short's body, he comes out through Martin Short's eyes. So yes, eyes are a hole in the face.
So I would also point to a skull, if you've seen a skull.
Yeah, that's sort of saying too, with the eye, there's holes in the skull, but yeah, the actual eyeballs themselves, you can get into a human body through the eyes themselves. So
there you go.
I think Margot Robbie actually did that in the Suicide Squad also.
Welcome to Science Fanatics. Yeah. We're here today to talk about the human biology.
We need to get Brandon Hanna on the show. Right. He would love that. Anyways, so moving on. Zach Galifianakis has been casted in the live-action Lilo and Stitch.
Yay!
I don't know. We have no idea who he's playing.
I have a good idea.
Well, so my first guess I would say would be he's doing the voice of Stitch.
No.
But I don't know, because according to a conversation that both me and my brother had the other night, apparently almost anybody can do the voice of Stitch, because it's really easy to swap into it, because Ohana means family. Red punch buggy, or blue punch buggy, whatever. Yeah, anyone could do like Stitch's voice. It's seemingly a very common voice. So why would you get a big name to do it other than getting a big name to help draw people into the theater? Also, on a side note, how big of a name is Zach Galifianakis right now? Like we haven't seen like a Zach Galifianakis like driven comedy movie in a while.
I would say he's about as big a name as any other actor who's been popular in the last like decade or so.
But I mean, it's kind of the same of was it Melissa McCarthy as Ursula in Little Mermaid? Granted, when they casted her and when we thought that the Little Mermaid movie was coming out, it was still like during the Melissa McCarthy is in every comedy movie. I think like she was casted in this before she did whatever that stupid movie with the Muppets, the adult Muppets were, whatever that dumb movie was.
Yeah.
But like it was supposed to come out like around that time when she was still like in a bunch of movies, like around 2016, 2017, and that didn't happen. It got delayed. So now we got Zach Galifianakis, which I feel like is kind of in the same scenario. We just really haven't seen him in movies in a while.
So so there is a world. I have two guesses here for Zach Galifianakis. Actually, I have 3 guesses. This is a live action Lilo and Stitch movie. So there's in this guessing either A, he's playing a character that wasn't present in the animated version, and he's just playing another character who like helps Lilo and her sister, or he is actually doing the voice of Stitch and they're just changing the voice of Stitch for live action, which that's a choice. Or, and this is my best guess, which makes it really weird that they would announce his role first, or they would announce him being a part of this first. He's doing the voice of Pleakley, who is the one-eyed alien who is who works with I believe Jumbo, the professor, trying to find their experiment, trying to find Stitch. So I think that character, if you remember the voice of that character from the animated version, sense. I think that character makes the most sense to hire Zach Galifianakis for.
Now, why they're announcing him first? Probably because he's the only one they've got casted so far.
But it seems weird to me that you would announce anybody. I think at that point you would just hold the announcement until you got more cast members.
Maybe, but that would probably be the reason why they're not saying who he's playing. Because you would think if you're making a live action Lilo and Stitch, the first 3 that you would want to hear is Lilo, Stitch, and Lilo's sister.
Yeah.
So that's probably why they aren't announcing who he's playing, because he's not one of those 3. Those 3 they'll probably hold and they'll announce all 3 of them at the same time.
And to be fair, like, I do not expect that the person that they cast to play Lilo is going to be someone that we've ever heard of. They're going to be a younger actor. They're going to be a child, pretty much. Yeah. And they're not going to be anyone that we've seen in movies before. This might actually be an introducing role for somebody, I would almost expect.
Well, it's like Moana. Moana, that was I'm not going to get her name right, but Aruli Carvalho or something like that.
You like me to look it up for you?
Yeah, I know I'm close to it, but
it's I regret doing this. Auli Carvalho
close enough
is pretty right.
Yeah,
Auli.
But yeah, that was a name. That was a name I hadn't heard before Moana came out, and now I've heard her in a couple other things since then.
No, Jeremy. So Moana came out in 2016. She was already like probably a young adult by that point, if not just a teenager. So I would imagine that if she were to play a character in this movie, she would play Lilo's sister.
That would be interesting. That would work.
I don't know if they'll cast her specifically, but I imagine that if they went that route, I would have her as Lilo's sister for sure. Who I do think will probably be somebody of note.
Yeah.
But that's the reason why you're going to cast people of note, because this isn't necessarily an animated movie. Some characters will be animated themselves, but they're going to have actual actors doing their voices, because they'll probably also have those actors on set doing the motion capture as well. So the actors they get to do the voices of these characters will probably also be physically embodying the characters too, even if those characters are animated.
Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, that was announced. Next piece of movie news. So coming off of the heels of Knock at the Cabin, M. Night Shyamalan has signed up a first look directing and production deal with Warner Brothers. Let's see, it's not saying how long this is going to last, but they did also announce his next movie that is supposedly called Trap, that looks like they're eyeballing August 2nd of 2024. So apparently Warner Brothers has enough confidence in M. Night Shyamalan to continue helping him make movies. This is a weird thing with Shyamalan. Like, some of his movies, obviously, we all know are like, okay. But like some of his movies have at least at the very minimum have been intriguing. Old was a very intriguing premise, and I think the actual movie they did a pretty decent job carrying that idea.
Let me look something up here. Because I want to see some hard numbers on this. Where's my mouse? There it is. I want to see some hard numbers on box office gross M. Night Shyamalan. Yeah, so some of his last movies. Glass looks like made around 247 million.
But that one was That one was coming off of Split, so that one had some hype from the previous movie.
Yeah, I'm just looking at what Google immediately brought up. Okay. Gosh, I need something to give me like his actual movies just right in front of me. Yeah, so old did pretty well, right?
I believe Old did pretty decently. I don't know as far as like box office numbers. I know for the critical response to it was like, it's all right. It's a movie. It could have been a little bit better.
There it is. There we go. So we've got, I mean, he's in the triple digit millions for the vast majority of his movies. Lady in the Water did 73 million and The Visit did 98 million. Both of those are the only two movies. Old did 90 million. So he's got 3 movies that performed under 100 million. Everything else has been, almost everything else has been over 200 million. So if you want to know why he's signing a multi-picture deal, is because his movies probably don't cost anywhere close to that amount. And he's bringing in, 200 to $250 million minimum on a lot of these movies.
Yeah.
So that's why M. Night Shyamalan, despite being very hit or miss with a lot of people, he puts butts in seats. Maybe not as much as like say Christopher Nolan or Steven Spielberg or someone, but he puts butts in seats.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think I agree with like Nerd here. I think that he is probably one of the most hit or miss directors for me as well. Again, I liked Old. I think the twist on Old, I thought it was okay. It wasn't jaw-dropping or anything, but when they revealed it, I was like, oh, well, that makes sense. Okay, that works. Okay, I get the idea of what they were trying to do here. Yeah, it was a cool idea. It works, but it wasn't like Sixth Sense that everyone's jaw was on the floor had they not had the movie spoiled for them. But yeah, I'm eager to watch Knock at the Cabin. At the very least, I've heard that Knock at the Cabin is a lot like Old. It's kind of hit or miss also, but a lot of people are saying like what Jeremy is saying here. Batista really, really like knocked it out of the park as far as acting goes in that movie. So
the other thing, Nerd said, are you looking at global? I believe I was just looking at domestic numbers. I believe that those were just domestic.
If you watch all of his movies, you start to realize he's terrified of old people, and honestly saying, yeah, us old people, we're scary.
Old people.
Old.
Well, hello, Lola. Welcome.
Oh, yeah, your door's open. That's right. She's like, I hear people in here.
She's venturing in here to say hello.
Anyway. Had a small little Lola break there for a minute.
It's time for a Lola break. We don't have a cutaway or anything for that. So
she left.
Okay. Anyways, so that should be interesting. Let's talk about some Marvel stuff. Real quick.
Sure.
We got news that the Marvels is being delayed from July to November. This seemingly seems to fit with what Feige was saying before, that he wants the movies to breathe, to have some room. This is also giving opportunity. They were saying officially it's giving opportunity in post-production for them to fine-tune and tweak a little bit of the special effects, which I know is something that a lot of people have said have been lacking over the past couple of Marvel movies. Namely, let's say Ant-Man Quantumania. Again, MODOK looks really weird. And we'll talk about more about this here in a little bit, but like a lot of people are specifically calling out MODOK just because of how strange he actually looks in that movie. And you're thinking someone like Marvel could possibly tighten that up and make it look just a little bit better.
Yeah.
Marvel's done really good, especially lately with having their characters de-aged. Like, go back and look at Samuel L. Jackson in Captain Marvel. The de-aging process that they did on that was fantastic. So Marvel is very good at nailing their visual effects. But lately, over the past couple of movies, and also given the fact of how we're hearing possible mistreatment of the visual effects staff at Marvel, we're starting to see that something might be slipping here. I tend to agree. I think that what we have seen from Marvel before, what we got of MODOK, really was not up to par. And they could have made MODOK look a lot better, or at least look like Corey Stoll. But beside the fact, they're doing this, they're pushing the Marvels further out just to give them more time to fine-tune those visual effects, because that is going to be a very visual effects heavy movie between Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel, and Monica.
There's also other things to think about too. As of right now, we know that Secret Invasion is coming. We know that's going to come. That's going to hit before we see the Marvels.
Yes.
We know that we've got maybe one or two other shows that are supposed to come out this year at some point. I think Echo is supposed to come out, and I feel like Daredevil's next year.
Daredevil's next year. Echo is at the end of this year.
Echo's at the end of this year. So we got a couple more Marvel projects that are coming out. The thing to keep in mind is movie-wise, with the Marvel's initial release date, they were kind of forward stacking this whole year with the movies. We had Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania this month. May is Guardians of the Galaxy. And then they initially were trying to do June or July for
Marvels.
Yeah, July for the Marvels. So that's just 2 months after Guardians of the Galaxy. And then at this point, there was nothing planned for the rest of the year movie-wise.
Yeah, so TV shows we do have Secret Invasion is going to be the next one.
Loki too as well. Yeah.
What If is supposed to be coming out at some point as well. I think What If is going to be kind of like X-Men 97, which I believe is also coming out this year. Those two I feel like are kind of like aside projects. They're not necessarily projects that fall in line with the actual MCU.
They're not going to draw the main audience towards them as much.
Yeah, they're small side projects. They're little things. That's same with the I Am Groot shorts that they released last year. They're just little side fun projects. Nice little. They really don't have any ties into the main MCU storyline. Even though I feel like we almost got that Supreme Strange from What If in Multiverse of Madness. Because even in the trailer, they showed him and we're like, that's the Supreme Strange from What If? It may have been, kind of, sort of, but it wasn't actually confirmed in the movie or anything. So still can't really fully assume that.
The main shows there are, looks like Secret Invasion, Loki 2. I believe Ironheart also is planning on coming. And then, of course, Echo. We know is coming.
Echo is going to be at the very end of this year. I think Ironheart, I believe, is like going to be like around October, potentially. Secret Invasion, I'm willing to bet Secret Invasion is probably going to come out after Mandalorian is done. Yeah, they're going to release Mandalorian and then they'll release Secret Invasion.
It should be coming spring for sure. All that said, it looks like there's going to be like just kind of more of a focus on shows for the bulk of the year. The push for the Marvels being in November is the right push. Yeah. I'm actually shocked that when I looked it back up, I was like, wait, they're putting the Marvels in November. Isn't that going to run into another Marvel movie at the end of this year? No, there was no Marvel movie at the end of the year. So I'm like, oh yeah, then absolutely push the Marvels to November. That makes the most sense.
Spread it out. Yeah.
And give me a Marvel movie at the beginning of the year, middle of the year, end of the year. Perfect. Now, if you can do that while also treating your visual effects crew correctly, that's just a win-win for everybody.
Yeah.
But yes, in this situation, I think they are pushing it for multiple reasons. I think one of the reasons could be the visual effects thing. I think the other reason is definitely to fill the calendar in all of the key spots, especially because without a Star Wars movie, and obviously we're in a quiet year for Avatar, Disney doesn't necessarily have anything big planned for December. As far as I remember correctly, I don't believe Disney has anything big planned for December this year. So that makes the most sense to put like a Marvel movie, say like in November, to kind of capture some of that December box office with the tail end of the Marvels.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's a good move by them. I think it makes the most sense. I'm actually surprised that November wasn't the Marvel's initial release date anyway.
Yeah. Anyways, in other Marvel news, so I kind of like what this trend that we kind of have is seemingly not critics, but movie media are starting to talk to other directors about Marvel movies. This was the most famous one of this was talking to Scorsese and getting his thoughts. And then of course he's like, that's not cinema. And then the internet blew up at him. Recently, I'm trying to see who talked to him.
I'm not a big fan. I'm personally not a big fan of like all of these like, hey, let's get a director's opinion on Marvel movies. Because a lot of times we're getting these directors going, meh, Marvel movies, meh, it's whatever. It's meh.
So let me rephrase this. I like it when they say something that's more positive.
The reason these things have been hitting off though is because you get a lot of directors going, it should stay in its own lane. That's not real filmmaking. Meanwhile, I think Kevin Feige is over here going, whatever.
Yeah, counting my money, making good movies. So the New Yorker recently interviewed the director of RRR, S.S. Rajamouli, and was asked him about the quality of the action filmmaking in Marvel movies. And he said, and I'm quoting this article, he said, they make extraordinary action set pieces. I mean, the action sequences are the reason I watch Marvel movies. I get engrossed in their action set pieces. I just love them. Their quality, their ingenuity, their visual compositions, everything is mind-bogglingly good. Wow. One complaint I have, the editing in these sequences is too fast. That kind of pace doesn't allow me to fully immerse myself in each shot and enjoy them completely. Sometimes you lose a semblance of who is fighting whom, who is hitting whom, and what happened. The action scenes are otherwise great, except for that one small complaint. And I feel like that's more of a general complaint on a lot of action movies. Like, I've seen a couple of Marvel movies. I think like specifically the Venom movies are very guilty of that. Like the big fights towards the end, you can't tell which symbiote's who. I mean, I'm glad that like the last one was Venom versus Carnage. So you had a black symbiote versus a red symbiote. They kind of stood apart. But like the first one, the first movie, yeah, you couldn't tell Venom from Riot at night.
It's at night. It's in a dark location. Lighting is down just to hide all the imperfections in the visual effects.
The most egregious is the Transformers movies. They're all a giant metal splurge of metal parts all flying all over the place. Yeah.
Which finger's which? Can you tell? Can you tell right now? Can you tell which finger's which?
But I mean, like, am I looking at a Transformers kneecap, armpit, belly button? Apparently, at one point, they were under the robot's testicles, I think, but
there it is.
They were under his scrotum. Thank you for that, sir. Mind-boggling. Okay.
This is grammar correction brought to you by Vernon.
Yeah, make sure y'all go over to a Fans View and subscribe over there and watch anything he does over there because he's really helpful. Vernon, you should just move over into here because we could use an associate producer like that.
What do you mean we?
Do what?
Speak for your damn self.
Yeah. Anyway, 4 Hellboys and no Hellman. Where's the development?
Asking the real questions. Asking the real
he's
questions.
never gonna grow up. He's a Toys R Us kid.
Asking the flicking real questions. Hey, got him.
Good job.
Got him.
Welcome, Jesse. Anyway, so yeah, like I understand that, and I feel like that point from him is why a lot of the action, specifically in RRR, the action is just so much fun to watch, even though it's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous and absurd. It still was a lot of fun to watch, and I think that's one of the things that helped RRR be such a good movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would like to see more of that kind of a response, and hopefully that's something that Marvel keeps in mind. Hopefully other people are reading this and keeping that in mind. I don't know. It's probably too late for someone to do a Passover on the newest Transformers movie coming out, but make sure they don't do that. I think Bumblebee really didn't have that too much of a problem. I think Bumblebee was pretty enjoyable. So
yeah. So yeah, I mean, I love this, like talking about the visual effects. Obviously, like I said earlier, Kevin Feige's rolling in the money over there. So I just wanted to bring this up real quickly. And it says apparently Kevin Feige has a money clip, which we can easily tell he does. Because this is the kind of man that has a money clip for sure.
Hey, I got my money in a money clip. Forget about it.
Forget about it. Hey, yeah, he's that guy's got a money clip for sure. No, I love this. I love that we've got SS Rajamouli talking, propping up Marvel and being excited for it, because I honestly don't feel like we have that often. Literally, this is more of a. I'm more going into a direction of the news outlets and how they present stories and how they get clicks. They've latched onto and realized that they can get clicks by generating controversy, by asking a random director, hey, what do you think about Marvel movies? And we get stuff like, they don't take the time to put in the effort and the heart into movie making. Therefore, it's not real cinema, this, that, and the other. And what that will do is it'll generate a bunch of people online on Twitter going, boo, boo, old man director, you don't know what you're talking about. We love these movies. And then that generates other people from film Twitter going, hey, y'all shut up. That director's right. And everyone's just fighting each other now and everything. What I want is I want to see us get off of this just negativity generating clicks nature of these things and do what we had with SS Rajamouli. He did some constructive criticism in there. In his quote talking about the visual effects, he said he's talking about like the editing and everything. Like they could work on some editing points, here and there, but for the most part, I really just enjoy their action sequences for this reason. We get positivity out of a director about Marvel's projects, even if it's just specifically about the action sequences. I want more of this. This is the stuff that I think needs to be generating clicks. I want to see news sites generating clicks off of directors being positive about other directors' work. Because here's the thing, no one in the movie industry really is in competition with the other person. This is an industry that should be propping each other up and supporting each other, and when people think something is good, they should be shouting from the rooftops, we think this is good. Which is why you have situations like who was it recently? I just said it was there was somebody who said that The Fabelmans was like the greatest movie talking about filmmaking, the greatest movie to talk about filmmaking, like in the last like 20 years or something like that. I forget which filmmaker it was directly, but I know one of them said something. That's what I want to see more of. I want to see more of
Denis Villeneuve.
Yeah, Denis Villeneuve said that The Fabelmans was like the best movie he's seen about filmmaking and the love of cinema in like the last like however long. And I feel like we need to have more of that. I feel like that is what I will click on. That's what I will click on. Those are the news articles I will support. I don't care about directors saying, I don't care for this genre. I don't care. I don't care what genre a director doesn't care about. They're out there making movies, and I support them making the movies they want to make. If they don't care about a certain genre, cool. I don't expect to see them make a movie in that genre. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you don't like. Let's spend some more time propping up other filmmakers, movies, and all that stuff. Last little bit on this. We saw Spielberg talking to Tom Cruise, I believe it was outside of recent awards ceremony, saying
Like the BAFTAs or whatever.
BAFTAs, yeah. Saying Top Gun Maverick basically saved cinema. It saved cinema as a whole. And it's like, maybe that's a little bit of hyperbole. I think that might be a little hyperbolic, whatever. But the fact remains is that here is a critically acclaimed classic director, Steven Spielberg, giving props to one of his friends, Tom Cruise, saying, you did some good work on that movie. That was a good movie. It did some damn good stuff, and we love to see it, basically.
Yeah.
And that is what I love to see. I love to see people in the industry supporting each other, and just like people who aren't even involved in the movies, aren't part of those studios, aren't part of working on that project, going, you know what? Y'all did some damn good work over there. I enjoyed that movie. Give me more of that. Give me more of that. This is why I love this new story of SS Rajamouli talking about Marvel movies and going, yeah, they do great action sequences. Love it. Yeah, that was my soapbox for this week.
Yeah. So speaking of action sequences, let's talk about spoiler free. Let's talk about some of these reviews for Quantumania that have been popping up lately. It's very divisive.
Yeah.
And from reading the reviews, a pattern that I'm noticing in these, and I've seen this before, and I feel like every single one of these, it comes down to a couple of things. You get like the critics, for the most part, especially if you're looking at that Rotten Tomatoes site, the critics are not rating it highly, but the audience is.
Hyperbolic.
Hyperbole. Did he had you one too?
Yes. I actually have contention with this. I don't think it's hyperbolic. There's an O in that word.
Yeah, it was mind-bogglingly, not mind-boggling. Anyways,
whatever. He's doing trivia questions for us tonight, so it could be hyperbolic.
Love having you here, Vernon. Thank you.
Hyperbolic is the direction I go, but
yeah,
it's whatever.
So you've got the critics are rating it low, while the audience is rating it higher. They're rating it higher than the critics. The first thing I tend to look at in a situation like this is, where is the opinion coming from? Critics, a lot of critics are they're specifically trained to do this. They're trained in film. They're trained in journalism. They're trained in English writing. They've majored in a lot of these subjects. So when they are able to give their opinion, they give their opinion succinctly. They give it precise. They know what they're talking about. They know what they're saying. They're not me, is what I'm trying to say. And I'm not a critic. I don't even know if I would consider myself a pundit yet. But these are people that are trained to learn how to critique, how to analyze a movie, and then how to speak upon it. Mm-hmm. Your general audience, and I know this might sound like I'm saying that the general audience is dumb. Please keep in mind, as of right now, I'm including myself in the general audience portion of this. Your general audience, is the movie fun? Were they entertained? Did they have a good time? Then that's what they care about. They're not looking at it with the same eyes that a critic is looking at it. So when you see on the internet, well, all these people are like, I don't know what the critics are watching. Where are they coming up with their opinion? They're coming up with an opinion based on their level of education, while in general, normal audiences, we're just watching like, did I enjoy it? Was it fun? Cool. Good movie. Moving on. And I don't think that like a lot of people are keeping that in mind when you see the difference of that opinion, when they're going after and attacking one another, essentially. critics are like these audience people have no idea what they're talking about. General audience are like these critics are crazy. Well, no, y'all are two different sides of the same kind of coin. You're trying to talk about a movie, and one knows essentially what they're talking about, and the other one's just talking about their enjoyment of it.
And there's been no, like, again, this is where like media literacy and stuff comes into play, because there's no understanding that if you're a general audience person, first of all, you're just going to movies because you like watching movies. Movies are fun. You like going to the movie theater and watching a movie. You go home, you call it a night. You know, there's not so much I need to see every single movie that comes out. There's a certain grouping of moviegoers who are more so focused and minded on, I want to see everything. I want to be able to speak to everything and talk about everything. Some of those people create YouTube channels. Some of those people do not. But your general audience members, they don't understand from a critic standpoint. Hi, Lola. They don't understand from a general standpoint that when it comes to finding a critic, ideally, not every critic is going to speak to every possible taste. If you want to find a critic, if you want to find someone that doesn't sound like they're just bloviating out to the wind or whatever,
They're doing what?
Yep, just go with it. I'm on a roll.
Vernon, I'm gonna need you to write that one down real quick too.
Google search that mess.
Vernon,
you need to. They need to search and find a movie critic that aligns to their tastes, because I think that is truly what will help people understand the concept and art of movies in a better way. For me, well, put in perspective, for me, I'm not going to spend time focused on a movie critic that really likes horror movies, because I don't really like horror movies. So if I am spending my time listening to a critic who's like, this horror movie was great, I'm going to be like, this critic doesn't know what they're talking about, which is not true. That critic absolutely knows what they're talking about. They're just talking about a genre and have a taste that is different than mine. So what I need to do is I need to find a critic that has a taste for genres that I do, so that when it comes time for a movie to come out, say like a Top Gun Maverick comes out, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to be into a Top Gun sequel. It's 30 something years later. It seems kind of weird. And the critic is like, no, stop it, Lego. No.
It's okay, Lego. I like your content.
When the movie critic is like, look, I didn't know if I was going to like Top Gun Maverick, but man, this movie hit hard for me. I'm going to be like, oh, I trust that critic's opinion. Now, all of a sudden, I want to go see Top Gun Maverick. And then I walk out going, that critic was correct. Why? Because they aligned with my tastes. And that's what people don't understand about critics, is that they're looking at critics speaking generally and thinking that that critic doesn't know what they're talking about, when that critic doesn't like the same kind of movies or float in the same realm that they do. I think it is healthy for people to get different ideas, different opinions from different people and different critics, and like look at other general audience members and what they have to say. I think it's important for people to do that. But I think at the end of the day, if you're screaming into the abyss that these critics don't know what they're talking about, it just means you haven't found the critic yet who aligns with your tastes. Because when you do that, all of a sudden you're going to find a critic who knows what they're talking about. Magic.
I would say, even like for me, there's been so many times I've seen critics like watching the same movie I just watched, and they're like, I really like that. There was that one scene in that for about 5 minutes. It was all one take. It was beautifully shot. And me watching the movie, I didn't realize that I was watching a scene that was all one take. Sometimes I catch them, sometimes I don't. And I know Lego said something. Yeah. Lego was saying, once you start getting into film analysis or critique, you do not see films the same way, which, like, since starting this YouTube channel and having to talk about it, my way of viewing these movies has changed a little. I am paying attention to, where is she going?
Hey.
Anyways.
This is why I usually shut my door when I'm doing the tagline.
Yeah. I started noticing a little bit more. I am paying attention to like music cues and the cinematography a lot more since starting this channel. Again, we're not critics. I don't necessarily consider us pundits yet. We're just reviewers. We're people who decided to start a YouTube channel we know a lot about movies. We hope that when we talk about movies that people understand that we know a lot about movies and they like our opinions, whether they agree with them or not. They like the fact that we have an opinion and they follow us for that reason.
We
so
are
please subscribe.
At this point, we are general audience members talking about movies online.
Yeah. Now, to your point, as far as finding people who align with your tastes, I will say, specifically for like horror movies, I do tend to align with Sean Chandler, who loves horror movies. Also, whenever I hear James Janice from Dead Meat talk about horror movies, he usually has like the same kind of opinions I have. So, like, both of us, like, some of our favorite horror movies are The Thing and Suspiria, the original Suspiria, 1977. Both of us really like that movie for the same reasons. So, like, I like his tastes as well. For normal, common movies, not just horror, I feel like my tastes kind of do go along the same lines as Dan Merle. So, yeah, I have found critics or people who are also talking about movies on the internet whose opinions align with mine, or my opinions align with theirs. Doesn't really matter, but whatever. So yeah, for that case, I'm able to watch this as someone who wants to be entertained and enjoy a movie, while at the same time watching it with that critical eye. Maybe mine's not as good as others, but like that's the whole point of wanting to talk about movies. So
yeah. So we're talking about in regards to like all the Quantumania stuff, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's been a lot of like weird takes out there. I mean, and I say weird, like everyone's allowed their opinion, obviously. I think for me, I think it's interesting to look at the Rotten Tomatoes score of that, look at the cinema score. I don't know if they've changed since the last time I've seen them. I think cinema score was like B or B- or something like that. It was last time I looked, it was lowest cinema score along with Eternals.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, look, at this point, what's hard for me to trust like a Rotten Tomatoes or a cinema score at this point for it is that it seems like there's a large swath of people out there just randomly yelling on the internet who have some kind of agenda against Marvel at this point. Like once Endgame was done, this group of people are just screaming to high heaven about whatever they can against Marvel. And sometimes there's things to bring up and to talk about that are correct. Like, hey, let's make sure the people who are working on these movies are, being given proper working hours, reasonable working hours, and reasonable pay for what they're doing. And I think that's fine to have that discussion and talk about that. Everybody should be paid fairly and treated fairly. But when some of these same people are getting into the discussion of, oh, make Marvel male again, or whatever BS is out there, I think those people need to shut up.
That's terrible opinion.
That is, I don't know what that was. Don't do that again. Yeah, there's a large number of people out there who are screaming about Marvel for any number of reasons, and these are the same people who, if you go to like IMDb or some of these other, or even like Rotten Tomatoes, they'll try to mess with the scores and everything before they even see the product. And so I start to tend to trust these sources a little bit less because they're too easily manipulated by people who have bad faith agendas to begin with. So in this case, when there's a group and it's like, hey, Ant-Man is not as good, I worry that it's a group of people who are like, there's too many women at the predominant focus in this movie. There's a black man who's a villain, blah, blah, blah. There's this, that, and the other. Like things that are like, yo, no, it's cool. This is how movies are nowadays. This is how society is nowadays. Get used to it. Get on the train. This is the direction we're going in. And these people are out here, in subtly in some of their reviews and some of their agendas and some of their ratings and whatnot on different websites. They're trying to bring down the scores for whatever reason. I don't trust these. I don't trust these. I don't know if that's fully what you're bringing up there, but I think that is one aspect and one side of it that I'm like, here's the thing. Here's the thing for me. I saw Quantumania. You saw Quantumania. We actually kind of have a different opinion on this. And if you've seen our review, you know this.
Mm-hmm.
I actually really had a fun time with it. I enjoyed it. I thought it, it's out there. It's wild. It's what you kind of expect when you're doing a whole movie in a crazy, twisted dimension like we've seen in Doctor Strange and, somewhat in Guardians of the Galaxy as well. And I had a lot of fun with it. There's different aspects that people are questioning, like the whole MODOK side of things. He doesn't look exactly like he does in the comics. At this point, I'm like, you know what, though? The character as MODOK, the character of MODOK, kind of hard to do in live action. So
yeah,
it's really one of those that if it works for the story, it works for the story. And if it doesn't look exactly like he does in the comics, you kind of just have to go with it. Again, I would recommend we listen to the podcast that's coming up. I may or may not have mentioned a theory that I have about MODOK in the future. Again, there's going to be slight spoilers on that, so you do want to listen to that podcast on Tuesday when it comes out. But all that said, I think the movie was great. That's my personal opinion. I think there's a lot of people out there who have their opinions of movies. You even are, I would say, are one of them who didn't like it as much. And I, as a smart-minded person, can see your opinions, can hear you and go, I think that you dislike the movie for valid reasons. I understand why you dislike it, and I think it's completely valid for you to dislike the movie. Whereas I think there are some people out there who are coming out there full fist against the movie, and they're like, no, this movie's dumb, it's stupid, and you're all dumb and stupid for liking it. And I'm like, no, sit down, shut up.
That's a bad take.
You're having a dumb take, and I'm not here for it.
Well, so for example, my issue that I have with it is towards, like, I would say the beginning of the second half of the movie, it feels like there's a bit of a lull. It is building up. It's trying to build up the anticipation for the big finale fight that they're going to have, but it kind of drags a bit. And so I've said this, and like I even said it to you, and you were like, well, I didn't feel like there was really a lull or it was really dragging. Keeping in mind the individual, and this is not an attack against you, I'm just saying this in general.
How dare
keeping in mind the person who, granted, I could put a review out there, out into the ether, out into the internet, and people are just going to take it at face value. Like, here's a person, he's talking about a movie. Does he have any credentials? Well, he does run a movie YouTube channel that has 1.7 thousand people. So not really, not really any credentials, but like, he seemingly knows what he's talking about. His channel is growing. They keep making videos. We don't know why, but they do keep making videos, and they don't show any signs of quitting. So they must be doing something good over there. That's the very general take that you could take. What you don't know, unless you actually are watching us and paying attention to what we're saying, one of the things specifically with me is ADHD and my inability to focus sometimes. If a movie has anything that I feel is a slow and lull in it, you're going to lose my attention, and that's where I start to separate from the enjoyment of watching that movie. Quantumania had that for me. There was that part, and that's why I said, like, I don't know if I think I said it in the review, I can't wait to watch it again when it's available to watch here at home on Disney Plus, because that's going to allow me the opportunity to watch it again, first of all. And if I feel like there's a lull, it's getting slow, and I'm not focusing as much as I can, or as much as I should, I can pause the damn thing. I can go do something else, refocus myself, come sit back down, turn it back on, and jump right back into the movie.
Yeah.
But that's me. And every single critic, pundit, reviewer, whoever, they're all going to have their ways of approaching this movie. And what I don't like is kind of like what you're saying, is blanket statements like, well, I don't like it, and if you like it, I just feel like you're an idiot. Well, no, you don't know that person. You're not giving them time of day. The best example for this is the comment on our Tetris reaction the other day. This idiot, I'm not gonna, shouldn't call him an idiot, actually. They were just an uninformed person. Was sitting there like, well, this Tetris movie, we were kind of making the joke about the Tetris movie being like based on the game and not how the game came to be, or at least how
when it was
came to be in
initially
America.
announced that they were making a Tetris movie, everyone was thinking, "Oh, they're going to make a movie based in the
About pieces
game."
falling.
How do you do that? So like aliens attacking the planet or something?
Well, so this person made a comment and went after us saying, like, why did you think it was going to be about the Tetris game itself, and not about how Tetris was made? Something like that. I'm paraphrasing. And then they attacked, saying, like, you should have done research before you did this. And I came back, I was like, well, first of all, it's just a trailer reaction. I don't need to do research. I've never needed to do any kind of research for a trailer reaction. The idea is you're watching the trailer and you're reacting to what you're seeing. There's no research needed involved in that. Second of all, I said, if you had researched us, you would have realized that there was a Tagline episode a couple of months ago when this first came out that they were making this movie. We talked about on here, it's not a movie about the game itself. It's a movie about how the game was made or how the game was brought from Russia into America. We already knew this. We knew that's what this movie was about. We were just making a joke. Had you done the research and followed us, been watching us, you would have known that. So kind of just flipped it back on them. If you're not following these people, it's kind of hard to give a critique of someone who's giving a critique if you don't know that person to begin with. If you're not following us, you have no idea that I have like ADHD focusing issues. And so therefore, you're not going to know that my review, my opinion of a movie may be slighted because of that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
which is completely okay, because there are other people like you that exist on this planet. You are not a unique snowflake. There are millions and millions.
said I'm a unique snowflake.
My mother said I'm a beautiful flower.
I'm a beautiful flower.
There are a bunch of people who will feel the same way, watch movies the same way, and therefore they are looking for a reviewer like you to speak to how they watch movies. They're going to see someone calling you an idiot for that, and they're going to go, no, he's valid. I'm like that too. You're the idiot. And then, of course, we're just going to go into a whole spiel of everybody just being mean to each other on the internet.
Everyone's an idiot.
You know, we already have so much of that anyway. But yeah, the thing of it is that real true critique, first of all, you let people like what they like, and you let people don't like what they don't like. If you don't like something and you want to speak to the reasons why you don't like it, do it thoughtfully. You know, do it with, you know, I'm not saying you have to have like a full-on college course educated response, but put at least a little bit of emotion into it, a little bit of thought into it if you're going to speak to it online, because otherwise you're just going to come across, you know, being a hater, and nobody likes that. Likewise, if you like something and you want to speak positively about it online, give it some thought. You know, there's reason to give thought on both sides. You know, do your due diligence where necessary, you know, where you can. But otherwise, if you're just passionate about something, be passionate about it, you know, love it, talk about it, and then just you know, just let people like things. Just let people like things. If someone likes something you don't like, just whatever.
Yeah. So like Jeremy's saying here, I don't know why people care about others doing research. Like, shouldn't you just watch the movie? It's a trailer reaction, not a movie review. Absolutely. Here's the thing also. In like, say in the case of this, I'm going to use the Tetris movie as an example still. I know there's documentaries about it. I know like a lot of people put comments on our reaction linking to different commentaries on YouTube about this. I haven't had time to watch them yet. I've been busy. I would like to watch them, but here's the thing. If I don't get a chance to watch them before the movie comes out, I'm going to be fine. I don't go into a movie, let's say like Oppenheimer. Between the two of us, let's be honest, Chris doesn't know as much about J. Robert Oppenheimer as I do.
I'm not a history person. I'm not someone who looks for all the information about things that have existed.
I'm not either. I honestly don't actually know that much about him. I know like probably I would say a little bit more than a common person. I don't know. I haven't done the legwork to study that,
But you are also somebody who is interested in looking up information and learning about things.
I'm an information sponge. I will sit here late at night and fall down the black hole of Wikipedia, just reading article after article after article, learning about this stuff. So I just naturally learn and retain. But I'm not going to go watch that Oppenheimer movie doing any kind of research before going, I wonder how close to reality this movie's actually going to be. I'm not critiquing it for that. Is it a good movie? Was it well written? Was it acted right? Was the cinematography good? How was the sound editing? How was the music? How as a person sitting my butt down in a movie theater and watching a movie, how do I enjoy the movie? I'm not doing research before. Again, I might not even get a chance to watch these Tetris documentaries. That's not going to have any effect on me watching this Tetris movie. Most of the time, if I'm watching documentaries, I probably will watch it after the movie. It's usually watching the movie that gets me interested to want to learn more. So, yeah, it was just a weird take, but yeah, that's what's going on with these Quantumania reviews. Is everyone has their own thoughts on how it should go, and this isn't your world. You don't control it. You're not King the Conqueror, so you don't have any say on how this world works yet. So
the wonderful thing is, at the end of the day, obviously, I guess the whole Marvel fatigue is a real thing. I'm guessing some people out there are experiencing it. I know for me, and I can speak for myself, I am not one of them. I'm not one of them in that if a Marvel movie is coming out, I'm excited for it. Am I excited for Guardians of the Galaxy 3? Absolutely. Am I excited for the Marvels? Absolutely. Am I excited for whatever the next movie is after that, the next movie after that, the next movie after that? Absolutely. I am completely sold to the Marvel machine. And that's one thing that people are going to criticize me for, because that means I'm not invested into real cinema. I'm okay with forking over money to a company to give me general slop and all of that stuff. And I will never expect more, and I will never fight for something real to come in. Whatever, dude. I like other movies too. Banshees of Inisherin was a great movie. That's not a Marvel movie. What more do you want from me? I can land on both sides of it. I like movies.
I love watching movies. I love making movies.
Keanu Reeves.
I will say, though, like, as far as this research thing goes, like, for us, or specifically for me, I grew up a comic book fan. So a lot of these comic book movies that come out, I am watching it, even though you love La La Land. Funny.
How do we time out Jeremy?
You can't do that on YouTube.
God dang it.
I mean, a lot of there are times I'm watching these movies and I'm like, how well are they adapting the story from the comic book? For example, Civil War was a major storyline in the Marvel comics. I think they did a pretty good job with it. I mean, they obviously can't do it to the point that they did in the comics, because at that time they couldn't get all of those characters involved, and that was a massive story, and there's no way you're going to be able to tell that entire story in one movie and make it make sense. They did very well with what they had to do with that movie, and I thought it was fantastic.
That's why it's called an adaptation. It's adapting. It's not fully one-to-one. It's taking pieces and parts to make it work in a different medium.
Yeah. Are you okay? So, I do watch some stuff like that. It's like, not that I'm researching these comic book movies ahead of time. I just happen to know about it. For the extent of MODOK. This MODOK in this movie is not comic book accurate. Absolutely. 100%. It's not. I like what they did with him. I enjoy what they did with him. I thought it was fun. It was a nice little twist on MODOK.
As its own thing.
Yeah, but it's its own thing as a comic book lover, specifically of someone who likes the character of MODOK in the comics. I'm happy with it. I know a lot of other people are fans of MODOK as well, and they absolutely hate what they did with MODOK in this movie. To each their own. Doesn't mean I'm not a comic book fan. It does, and I'm not looking at those people saying like, "Well, I don't think you're a movie fan." There's no reason to attack because of an opinion like that.
Yeah,
But
Yep.
anyways, I think that's about it for all the news, all the opinions, and everything.
I have Marvel fatigue.
I don't have Marvel fatigue. Bring
I'm
it
just
on.
kidding.
I want more.
I'm just kidding. Bring it on, but do it at a pace that is fine for the people who work on your movies.
She yelled to come in here. I let her come in here, put her on my lap, and then she runs off.
She is a finicky lady.
Freaking cat. Anyways, so that is going to do it for Tagline tonight. Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for being here. Again, if you are a part of the Patreon, patreon.com/cinefanatics, if you're on that Maverick tier, we will be hopping over to our Discord here shortly to do trivia. Vernon has graciously offered that if anyone wanted to participate, he is going to up someone's Patreon patronage of us to allow you to come in and participate. So let him know if you want to jump in there. So that should be a lot of fun here in a little bit. I miss doing trivia. Like, I'm actually going back and watching these new episodes of the Schmodown, or not new, as they're re-releasing them.
Do you know something we don't know?
They're not new. But it's funny because I haven't watched these episodes in so long that it might as well be new. I know, like, some of them are hitting like the story beats. Like they dropped one the other day was the reveal of Josh McCouga's new teammate being Elliot Dewberry. I was like, it's the birth of the Wildberries. So that was a lot of fun to go back and see that happen again. I know we're closing in on a couple other major storylines. The formation of the Shire Wolves is coming up pretty soon too. So that's going to be a lot of fun as well. So yeah, I miss movie trivia. I like doing these hangouts. Where's Batman? He's at home washing his tights. That's funny. So yeah, I enjoy doing that. So this will be a lot of fun. So come let Vernon know if you want to participate and join. He's writing the questions for tonight, and his questions are usually pretty good. I enjoy his questions. So come join us for that if you would like. Otherwise, check out Cinefanatics Podcast again, almost everywhere that you get your audio podcasts at. There's a video version here on this channel. We will have a new one coming up this Tuesday. We are talking about the MCU. It will have spoilers for Quantumania, so make sure you watch Quantumania beforehand if you had not seen it yet as of that time. Otherwise, make sure you follow us at Cinefanatics MLP on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow me personally at Robert Adams MLP, Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, and youtube.com/@RobertAdamsMLP, where I will be doing stuff soon.
Just stop saying that until you're ready.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta move some stuff around, and then I should have it good to go. So, I will be coming back with some new games as well. So I know a lot of people who were following me what I was doing before. I was just playing like that old Nintendo. I've got. I'll go ahead and like let people know. I got the newer Spider-Man game. I've got the Batman Arkham games. I'm looking into getting. Grand Theft Auto Vice City and playing that again. Haven't done that in decades. So I've got these games ready to play. I just got to get all the OBS streaming set up. So that is coming very soon.
And then you can follow me at Chris Adams MLP on Instagram, Twitter, Letterboxd, as well as twitch.tv/Chris Adams MLP, where I will be streaming starting this Sunday with an entirely new setup. It's still going to look the same graphics wise, but it's going to work a whole lot better than it has been working. I've already got stuff loaded up. Hint at what's to come. Guess what, folks? Jackbox is already loaded up and ready to go. We're going to do family game nights again. I don't know if we're going to do it this Sunday, but they are going to come back here very soon. So just come hang out. Twitch.tv/Chris Adams LP. If you've never been on Twitch, just come hang out. It's easy. You just click on that link, you just chill in the chat, say stuff if you want, and just have a good time.
Yeah. Anyways, so make sure y'all do the YouTube things. Make sure you like this video. Hit subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Again, we just crossed over 1,700. Trying to get up to that 2,000. I want to make sure we hit that 2,000 by the end of the year. I kind of want to be like at 3,000 by the end of the year, but we'll see how this year works. Hopefully it works in our favor. So I do believe 2,000 is very easy to hit by the end of this year. So
we'll hit 2,000 this year.
Let's at least hit that. Come on. So yeah, hit subscribe if you haven't done that. If you are watching this on a replay, if you're not watching it live right now, we appreciate you watching it on a replay as well. Hit the like, hit subscribe, come back because we got all kinds of fun content. We're doing the tier ranking of the Rocky and Creed movies on Friday, March 3rd. At 7:30 Pacific, 10:30 Eastern. So that will be a lot of fun. 9 movies to tier rank. So, yep, that will be coming pretty soon.
Yep.
Otherwise, that's going to do it for tonight. Again, if you're on the Maverick tier of Patreon, we'll see you over in the Discord here in a little bit. Otherwise, thank y'all for watching. All of y'all here live in the chat tonight, thank you for being here. We will see y'all later. Good night.
Good night.